Hi, it's Andy from Leadsability, and in today's video I want to talk about how you go about getting leads for your business. I'm talking about a brick and mortar or service type offline regular service business, not an online business, a real true offline business, shall we say. So how do you actually go about it? Well, there are actually only three things that you need to do. The first one is that you've actually got to find the kind of people that would be interested in what you've got to offer, right? So how do we go about doing that? Well, the quickest way to do that is with targeted online advertising, and you can advertise actually in the big four, which are, we call it the big four, but it's Google. That's the first one. The second one is Facebook or Instagram. They're both owned by the same company, so it's another source of qualified traffic that you can get before you turn them into a lead. The third one is LinkedIn, and the fourth one is Twitter. Now, they're not necessarily in that order. In fact, you've got to know how to use each one. Each platform has its own quirks in terms of online advertising, but you do have the ability of actually reaching out to them very quickly actually on online advertising. So that's the first thing. You've got to actually find the people that would probably be interested in what you have to offer. Now, the second thing you need is what we call basically a website with an offer. It's not just a website. You've actually got to have something on offer on your website. That's your products or your services and whatever it has to be. But normally there are two, I would say, categories of offers, right? You've got the first offer, which could be, for example, I don't know, a free guide, a free video, could be a white paper if you're in B2B, for example, or even case studies. Or it could be a free consultation or free visitation. So, for example, let's say you're running a daycare center for children. Well, one of the things you want to do is invite perhaps the mum and dad to come over and have a look and see the facilities and see how the kids get on and how they're looked after and so how the kids are looked after, right? So you need to have a very clear offer put on your website so that people can see exactly what it is that you've got. And then from there, you've got those two, I would say the two key ingredients. First, you've got to find the people online. And secondly, you've got to have the offer, the right kind of offer that goes in front of them. Now, there's a third piece which most people actually miss, or at least the businesses that we deal with, about 80% of them don't have this in place. And it's really related to a quote from Peter Drucker, where he said, he was a management person, if you didn't know, a management guru, so to speak. But he said basically, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it, right? And that applies as particularly in digital, because you can actually measure almost everything that's going on. You can measure, for example, how well your advertising is working, and you can also figure out using different techniques how well your offer is working as well. Okay, so in the online environment we call this basically digital plumbing. It's a bit like in a home. If you don't have the plumbing in place, well, you could have a nasty accident on the toilet or in the sink or wherever it happens to be, right? You need to have the plumbing working. So the same applies to digital, and what that really means in practical terms is that you got to use some tools like Google Analytics. There's a whole host of them. There's something called conversion tracking. Pixel sounds very technical, and I didn't want to really go into the technical details here, but suffice to say that's really, really important, because everything that goes on online can be actually measured. Okay, so three things just to recap. Number one, you need to find your audience, your people online. That's the first thing, and you can do that with paid advertising. Doesn't have to be super expensive. In fact, normally we start out with very low budgets to figure out where the audience is actually hanging out. So that's normally the way we go about it. We spend minimal amounts just to find the audiences, but that's number one. You need to find the right people online. The second thing you need is a good offer, or relevant, strong offer for your offline business or your brick and mortar business. That's the second thing you need. And the third thing is you need to make sure that you got all your digital measuring in place, or digital plumbing, as I said earlier, to make sure that everything's working perfectly. Okay, so that's it. I didn't want to go in too much more detail, but watch out for more videos. I'll be back soon. Take care.